First of all, I want to recommend a couple of videos. Cultic Mind Control, not just for cults anymore. It's on YouTube. The link is in the description. And there's another one called Cults, Rackets, Jesus, People, and Gold is one that I put up a couple of years ago. It's also in the description. There's a book here, Mind Control Model by Dr. Robert J. Lifton. It's very interesting. That is in one of these, mentioned in one of these videos. Just see the links in the description. There's a new cult out there. They call themselves, I guess they're called flat earthers, but basically what they believe is that we're living in a matrix, which implies that, maybe nothing is real. An important element of a cult is to have an esoteric belief system that provides a sense of empowerment. Basically what it boils down to is that, according to Robert J. Lifton, we're dependent creatures. As far as the animal kingdom is concerned, we are dependent upon our parents for the longest period of time, 20 years, 18 years, something like this, longer than any other animal in the animal kingdom. So by nature, we're dependent creatures. What a cult usually does is it promises something absolute. We seek meaning to life and death. So a lot of times the cult will provide an absolute meaning to life and death. There's many absolutes usually in a cult. Couple of quick asides, looking through these videos, there were a couple of really interesting statements were made. There are more cults. There are literally thousands and thousands of cults in the United States as we speak, and so many, in fact, that we really don't even know how many there are. And Pentecostals, interestingly enough, have been considered to be a cult. You will see, though, that, for example, Wikipedia likes to steer away from using the word cult for a religious sect, which is understandable. And, our purpose here is not to insult anybody. If you're a Pentecostal, I've been around, I've actually been to some Pentecostal services before that were not over the top, that were fairly reasonable. But in any case, one of the people in this, one of these videos claims that Pentecostals, there are more Pentecostals in the world than there are Buddhists, which I thought was interesting. But what I want to get to is something that people really don't talk about very much. If you do a search on Google or something like that for a definition of racket, and then you go to Wikipedia and see the definition of what a racket is, and you will see this. A racket is a service that is fraudulently offered to solve a problem, such as for a problem that does not actually exist, that will not be put into effect, or that would not otherwise exist if the racket did not exist. The most common example of a racket is the protection racket. The racket itself promises to protect the target business or person from dangerous individuals in the neighborhood, then either collects their money or causes the damages to the business until the owner pays. The racket exists as both a problem and its solution, and is used as a method of extortion. So that's interesting, and how the racket phenomenon applies to everyday life in America. We live in this. I think of the Defense Department and the NSA. If we didn't have the big military and the NSA and everything else, then we probably wouldn't have a lot of the problems that go along with it. That's an aside. Here are some elements of the flat earther thing. Like I said, they believe that we're living in a matrix type of deal. There's something about the sun that's the collection of unified soul or intelligence or something like that. So they do things like, walking around barefooting and sun gazing, where they actually gaze at the sun, which, by the way, is very dangerous. You can lose your eyesight doing that, and it's accumulative. You lose your retina cumulatively over a period of time. So I would really advise people not to do that. Use your best judgment. But I'm saying, it's probably not a good idea. And then there's something called blood over intent, where you write down what your intent is, and then you put blood on it, your blood, you spill your blood on this document, and somehow or another, and you do the barefoot walking and the sun gazing, and you get this enlightenment. First of all, make your document your intent, and then you bleed on this thing. You put your blood on it, and then you have to make it public. And the way they do that is by taking a video of this document and putting it on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and do a search for blood over intent, you will see pages and pages and pages of videos with the title Blood Over Intent. And I think I got up to page 35, and there was more. So there's a lot of people out there doing this that are into this thing. It's troubling in my mind because it seems very cult-like. And sun gazing, guys, that's dangerous to your eyesight. So I would just be careful out there. Anyway, let me move on here. The really important point, the thing that I want to get to is cults are often, not always, but a lot of times a means for exploiting people. There's usually some factually easy to disprove component of their belief system that is used as an idiot filter, to judge, how strong of a grip someone has on their sense of self, how strong their will is, how strong their mind is. And in this case, it's the flat earth thing. The flat earth guys, the earth is a spheroid. This is just eminently provable. You can prove it to yourself with a cell phone and a balloon. You know what I mean? You can go buy a plane ticket and go up and you can climb up in a tower and you can see the curvature of the earth. It's just painfully evident. So the cult leader is looking for pawns, robots, slaves that they can have sex with, manipulate for a feeling of power and material gain. Cults almost always have a leader who owns all of the wealth while the worshipers live communally. And basically, as I said in Cults, Rackets, Jesus, People, and Gold, a cult is just basically a pure form of a racket. Looking for weak-willed people that are easy to steal from. So, I realize that people out there, are having trouble, and we got some scary times going on, and people are feeling powerless. And when people feel powerless, they want to reach out for something that's going to give them some kind of, they're looking for some sort of miracle exit, and see people talking about, time to take the red pill, like that. That's why the movies like The Matrix are so popular, because it's this idea that maybe there's some sort of escape hatch out there that we just, some simple thing that we've missed, that we can take this pill or open this door and everything will change, Suddenly the black and white world will turn into color and everything will be different and there will be love and paradise, and a lot of times your favorite drug will hit you like that. This is why we have drug addicts. This is the thing about the flat earth thing. Cults often have an esoteric belief system that provides a sense of empowerment. And there it is. This belief that we live in some sort of matrix, that you can put your intent on a document, that you can basically write your wishes or whatever the hell it is on a document, put your blood on it, walk around barefoot and gaze at the sun and meditate, and bada boom ching bang, you get your enlightenment, you get your deliverance, your power. Why is it problematic? Because the reality is that we have to, sometimes we just have to buckle down and we just have to fight the fights and do the work. That's the fucking unfortunate reality of life, is that there is no escape hatch. There is no quick and dirty. Sometimes you just got to roll your sleeves up and do the work and pick up your musket and charge over the hill. It sucks, but, you got to do this. There's things we have to do in life. You got to wipe your baby's bottom, because he can't wipe it for himself. You have to wipe your own ass. You have to get up and go when you don't feel like getting up and going. And it's unfortunate. The power that's over us is overwhelming. Our lives are being controlled by trillionaires, and it sucks. What do we do about that? We need to get together and figure it out. But we're not going to figure anything out if we're chasing after myths with things that aren't real. Then the things that are real will overtake us. My name is R. Crosby Lyles, and this is News from the Can. News from the Can.